Assalamu alaikum students. In today's session, we will discuss some examples of complex subqueries. In addition to, we also discuss the join operation that we have already discussed in relational algebra. What you have learned in the relational algebra about join operation? How are those implemented using SQL statements? We will learn in this session. This session is basically in continuation to the last lecture. In the last lecture, we also discussed about the subqueries and how the select statement can be used using subqueries. We have to extend it and we have to use other operators. Those are applicable in subqueries. We have to study those in this session. So writing subqueries a bit difficult as compared to writing simple subqueries. We have already discussed that within the subqueries we have to use nested select statements, and in order to understand the subqueries we have given you some sort of examples of the tables, and we how we have to handle those if we likely to acquire information from more than one tables and with the help of the nested queries. Further, we also discuss and that how can we retrieve the data from multiple tables using such queries, and the join operation. Within the join operation, we will study what does mean Cartesian product, what is mean natural join, inner join, outer join. Those concepts we have studied in a relational algebra. Now we likely to implement those using SQL statement. So you have to recall what are those operations and how these operations can be implemented using SQL statements. After this lecture, you would be able to use nested queries, and you would be able to use different operators that we will discuss in this session. I have already told you that a subquery is a query and it is part of another query. So subqueries may also include subqueries. So it might happen that we are using an outer select statement, then within that an inner select statement, and within that we can use another inner select statement. So subqueries may also include subqueries, and their level is not restricted to the number of subqueries. So when we have to run these queries, the innermost query, that the subquery, is evaluated, and then what are the conditions given, and they have to compare those with conditions and with the where clause that is given there, and then the outer query is executed. We have learned this concept already in the previous slides. Furthermore, I told you that the subqueries may be of two types, that a single row subquery and multiple row subquery. Within a single row query, it returns a single row or a single value, and then the comparison operators are used in order to compare the value with the outer query, and then we will get the results. But in terms of multiple row queries, the subquery returns might be more than one values, and other operators like in, any, all, some, these are basically used. And within the coming slides, I have to discuss with you how such operators can be used and what are the limits and the limitations of these operators when you are using for the multiple row subqueries. These subqueries may be a correlated versus non-correlated subqueries. Regarding non-correlated subqueries, these subqueries don't depend upon the data from the outer query. One execute once for the entire outer query. So whatever the results you are getting from your subqueries, for its result what we are getting, the outer query is basically executed once. But for the correlated subqueries, we make use of the data from the outer query, execute once for each row of the outer query. What we have got from the subquery, that is basically implemented in a way that the data we likely to use of the data from the outer query. It can use exist operators, and I will give you some examples of exist operator and non-exist operators. So within that we have to differentiate what are the non-correlated queries and what are the correlated queries. Usually we use for the data retrieval that our select statement. Within the subquery, the select statement is nested. And how I told you how it is executed, the inner subquery is executed, and surely within that subquery it gives some sort of results. So those are returned by the subquery, those are returned to the outer query, and then outer query is executed accordingly. So the subqueries may use the classes, those are where class, from class, and having class. This is the syntax of the subquery, nested subquery. You have to see that this is the outer subquery, the select column name from table name. We many times use this one. We also use this in simple query with the where condition. Now with the where operator, we have given some condition. Then with the where clause, we can use another select statement. So this is called inner subquery. So this is executed and it will gives a result, might be a single value, might be number of rows, or might be number of values. Then that is compared with this where expression. And according to that, the outer query is executed. So if inner query returns null, if this query, that the subquery, it returns null value, then outer query also returns null value. Because this condition is not met, according to this condition, this select query have to retrieve the data. When the value of the subquery is null, then surely the outer query also gives you the results null. So you have to remember that nested queries, that the query execution starts from the most inner subquery, and we use different classes and operators in the subqueries. You are also using such classes in the simple queries, and other operator that I like you to discuss with you. Those are in, not in, all, any, exist, not exist, except, and some. That is basically used with these subqueries. We consider this example in which I have two tables. One is student table and other is marks table. Within the student table, you have student ID and student name. And within the marks table, you have student ID and the marks obtained. So the common field between the two tables is student ID. So if I likely to run a query, that the query should display all the students who got better marks. Then one of the student, his roll number is B678. Again consider, I say that from this query, I would like to display all those students, those have more marks. This one, those have better marks or more marks against one of the student whose ID is equal to B678. So we have to calculate this one. In that manner, what you have to say select student ID, student name, and marks obtained, where the marks obtained are from the marks table and the student ID and student name are from the student table. I have used this S and M. This is basically S and M within the table name are used as alias, and in order to retrieve the data of the column, we have to write this S with the column name. It should proceed, then we have to give the column name. S dot student ID means the student ID from the student column. Student name, I have written S dot student name, that means student name from the student table. The last one is written M dot marks obtained. It means marks obtained is from the marks table, and the marks table has the alias M, so I have written M dot marks obtained. So from student and marks, these columns values should be obtained from both of the tables. It means we are using multiple tables in a single query. Then the where condition. The condition is the student ID of the student table is equal to student ID of the marks table. Furthermore, we are saying that the marks obtained from the marks table, that should be greater than. Select marks obtained from marks where student ID is this one. In the very beginning, we have to say the inner query say that marks obtained should be retrieved from marks table where student ID is 678. It means this inner query will give you one value. The value of student ID is equal to B678, and if you see within this marks table, and B678 have 80 marks, so it will give you one value. So this value, one thing, and furthermore we are saying the student ID is equal to student ID. It means when we are comparing that in both tables the student ID should be equal, and we have to say that the marks obtained for all this one where the student ID and the marks obtained should be greater than 85. So this you are saying, for this we have to get the result of the outer query. So in that manner, what you have used more than one table and you have used more than one select statement. We can say this is a subquery because it is using nested select statement. Further, we are also using more than one table. So it will give you names of the students. Those have marks greater than 85 because you have to say that the student marks should be greater than the the numbers that had obtained by a student whose student ID is B678. So you have to prepare these two tables in your lab. Then you have to run this query and get the result. Now for other operators in which we likely to discuss in, any, all, some, except, just consider these tables, and these tables are from your book that is recommended to you from the BEC, that is database systems, and we have say branch table, staff, property for rent, client, and private owner. These are the columns of those, and we will consider in next subqueries these tables. You are advised to prepare these tables in the lab, and after that you have to run these queries I am discussing in your lecture. So we have to use one operator that is called in or not in. So in the simple queries we also use this in and not in, because in means within we have a list of values and we say whether within the list of values some value falls or not. So its syntax is select column names from table name where column name in. This is a select statement. Even you can write here the values. So we like you to say this column name, what is the value of this column name, whether that falls within these, the list of values or not. We have used this one, this syntax, that is given select column names from table name where column names in the values, we have used in the last lecture. So now rather than we are giving these constants values by ourselves, we just say we are writing a subquery here. So this select statement will give you values that might be one value or more than one values. And within those values, if this column values exist there, then this query will give you the result. The outer query will retrieve the data accordingly. So in this, the simple example is that you have to display list of all cities where there is a branch office but no properties. So considering those tables that we have already discussed in the previous slide, you have to develop those tables within your workshop in lab, then try to run this query. So what we are saying, select distinct city. Distinct city means the city should not be repeated. Yeah, from branch. From branch table, we need the value of the city and also need that should not be duplicated. The condition is where city not in. Select city from property rent. So from this table property rent, we have get the values of the cities. Those are available with this select statement. Because this select statement have no where condition, so it will select all the cities from property for rent. Now we have to see whether this city, that we say city within the branch, whether the value of this city falls within this list of values. If that is there, yeah, any of the value that is compared with this city and that city falls within this list of values, then we get the result from the outer query. Further, that you have to remember, when you are using not in or using in, you are not using other operators. So such operators, those are your relational operators: equal, not equal, greater than, less equal, greater equal. Those are not with the use of the operator in. So you can only use not in, you can use only in. So this statement may also be in terms of that select distinct city from branch where city in this one. But we say, but no properties. We say, no, we are not looking for no properties, but we're looking for the properties. You can say where city, you have to remove this not, and you have to say city in this list of cities. So in that manner, you can use in and not in with the subqueries. You hoping that you did practice using this operator with the simple queries using in, not in. But only the thing that you have to remember when you are using this operator, in operator, you are not using such operators. Those are basically relational operators with the in. Yeah. This is another example that here we have this select statement, then we have other select statement, then we have another select statement. So this select statement is nested 3 times. We are saying list the properties that are handled by the staff who work in the branch at 163 Main Street. So address is given. So we have to say select property number, street, so and so from property for rent. Where staff number in. So the staff number that we will get from this one, yeah, that should exist, that should be within the list of staff number that we will get from here. Here says select staff number from staff where branch number, and select branch number from branch, this one. So in this manner you will get the value of the branch number. and you will get the value of the branch number for which the address is 163 Main Street. So in this manner, it might be a single value, that is a branch number you will get, and that branch number is now compared with this branch number and this branch number from the staff table. When they are equal, yeah, and then when we are running this inner query, we're getting the values and we are comparing that the branch number of this outer query, yeah, and it may give you the list of the values. The note may be here, yeah. Running these two select statement, we get the values. Then we again say if the staff number falls within these list of values, those are carried out by these both nested select statements. If that is there, then we get property number, street, so and so. So you have to remember when you're writing some subqueries, how the inner query will be executed and what should be their results and how we have to compare with its outer and with its most outer query. So might be you feel some difficulties in developing the subqueries because keeping in view what is the problem and how we have to retrieve the data, then we look for how these subqueries may be used, how you can use select statement with another select statement, because we have to start from the most inner query. And if we say what should be its result, then should be the compare with its outer, and what should be the result, then it again with this some sort of a operator, the outer query should be executed. So we have already discussed sometimes it happened that the outer query is only executed once, where this query some sort of gives a result. It may also that the outer query may be executed for all the rows, those are returned by the subqueries. So now we have to use the exist operator. The exist operator, a logical operator, it may be used as non-exist or exist. So it is used to test the existence of any record in the subquery. So it returns, if the subquery returns one or more records. So we have to in the very beginning run this subquery and we have to say whether it is returning some sort of records or not records. So we have to say whether this value that is selected from the outer query, where this exists within this results or not. If this exists, then we have to get the results. So if furthermore a valid exist subquery must contain an outer reference that it must be correlated subquery. I have already discussed with you with the correlated subquery, you have to use with the correlated subqueries are used for row by row processing. Each subquery is executed once for every row of the outer query. For this one, when this gives the inner query gives some sort of result, this result should be here and the outer query will be executed for this result. And then again the other result, the outer query should be executed for the result that we get from the this select statement, this one, yeah. So you have to exercise those, and then by doing exercise you may learn more about that how subqueries should be used. Just you have to remember this word, the correlated subquery. Within the correlated subquery, basically these are used for row by row processing. Each subquery is executed once for every row of the outer subquery. This should be executed, yeah. And after its execution, the outer query basically it will run for all the records, and we have to see whether this record exists according to this one or not. And you can use also exist, not exist. So this is an example is given. We are saying this is the product table and this is the supplier table. The product ID is the key and the supplier ID is the key. Product name, supplier ID, unit price, and supplier ID, supplier name, this contact name and address, etc. So we are saying select supplier name from suppliers. What we are looking for, we name of the supplier. Yeah, we say this supplier name we are looking for. Where exist, select product name from product. We have to say the product name from the product. Where product supplier ID is equal to supplier ID. This means the both supplier ID have the same value because the supplier ID is in the product and supplier ID in the supplier. This supplier ID is basically used as the foreign key with the products. So what you are looking for, the for inner query, you have two conditions. One condition is both supplier ID and supplier ID both should be same. This supplier ID from the product, this it is written as product.supplier ID. It means this supplier ID is from the product table equal to supplier ID dot supplier ID. It means that this supplier ID from the supplier table. The one thing is the supplier ID from both table should be equal and price less than 70 and the price of the product that is less than 70 rupees or 70 pounds, whatever you can say, it will be executed. Yeah, when it will be executed, then we have to get some sort of result, and that result is from the product name. For this one, the outer query should be executed. So for each row of the outer query, it should run keeping in view where exist for the subquery. You can also use not exist statements. So it returns true if the subquery returns no row. If subqueries give some sort of result, it means exists. Yeah. If should not exist, it means the subquery have no row. Otherwise, it returns false. It also returns false if the subquery returns any row with null value. Even if it is giving null value, yeah, and or if it returns false. So not as operators run true if subquery returns no row. Okay, so this is only applicable when this subquery is not returning any row. So this logical operator is considered to be faster than the in operator when comparing data set using this. And what is the basic difference between the two? We have to see in case where the query had to perform certain tasks, but only if the subquery returned any rows. In case where the subquery had to perform any certain task, but only if the subquery returned any rows, whether the subquery is returning any row or not returning any row. Then, when evaluating where not exists subquery, the database engine could quit searching as soon as it had found just one row. So if you are using the exist, it only say whether the subqueries have given some sort of result. If it have given some sort of result, then it will quit that. Database engine will quit searching as soon as it had found one row. So that one row basically with the exist, then the outer query should be executed while it records. And if we are using not in rather than not exist, so it always collect all the values before we have to run the outer query. Where not in or in subquery would always collect all the results from the subquery. In the exist, we say the subquery will running or it will stop when we even get a single row that meet the criteria, and then the outer query should be executed. But in this manner, the inner query, all the results should be it should be collected, and then the outer query should be executed. So this is the basic difference between exist, not exist, and in and not in. So now we have to use other subqueries using any, all, or some operator. Yeah, some operator is also used. So it is preceded by the word all. All means that all the values, and any means that any of the value. So in the all, the condition will only be true if satisfied by all values produced by the subquery. Might be subquery produce 2 values, 3 values, or 4 values. So we have to take that all. And if we are using any, the condition will be true if satisfied by any of the rows produced by the subquery. In the all, the result produced by the subquery, that all values should be applicable. So they have to compare all values, and within that you have to compare any value. So if a subquery is empty, it means the subquery haven't given any row. All condition returns true. If the subquery is empty, all conditions return true, and the any condition returns false. The any and all operators are used with the where and having class. That you have to consider. If the subquery is empty, the all condition returns true. Yeah. So within any and all that we have already considered when you are using in operator, these operators are not applicable. This equal, less than, not equal. These are not applicable with the in operator, but these are applicable when you are using any or all. So it is syntax is select column names from table name, where column name, then you have to write any, the keyword, select column name from table name, where condition. Yeah. And within any, you can use these operators. And this is select all. You can write this word, select this from this where column all, then you have to select this one. Yeah. No, this is one of the uh, example. Find all staff whose salary is larger than the salary of every member of the staff that is working at branch, this one. So in that manner, we find all staff whose salary is larger than salary of every member of the staff. If we are talking about every member of the staff, it means we need all values. So we have to say select staff number, this last name, position, salary from staff, where salary greater than. Here we have to select all values from the salary, that is all values of the salary from the table staff, and we have to say where branch number is B003. So it will get for branch number 003, and the person those are working there, they have to collect all values of the salaries. So this may get the list of the values, that is more than one values for the salary, and we say that this salary must be greater than these all values, might be 3 values or 4 values or 5 values. So all means this value salary must be greater than all the values those have been computed by the subquery. Recall that what the call say. I will repeat this example. Find all staff whose salary is, here we likely to say from this one staff number, first name, last name, position, salary for all the staff members. With what condition? With the inner query we have to say that from the staff table we get the all number of salary values, and this all values here, and we say if any salary is greater than all the values of this one, then that record should be here retrieved. And if we use the same one, I am writing here any. So with the any, this salary should be greater than any of the values that we are collecting here. Yeah. So this is another operator, that sum operator. You can use that with the same this sum, select this here. Sum operator evaluates the condition between the outer and the inner. Although the all is also doing the same as they are having evaluating the condition between outer and inner query, sum is also doing the same, and evaluates to be true if the final result returns any one row. And here we have to say if any one row is returned from that. If not, then it values to be false. For that, some means if any of the row is here, yeah, and that is greater than the salary, so this should be executed. The outer should be executed and give the result. And for the all that we have to give the word here all. Some must match at least one row in the subquery. Yeah, and if it is not doing that, that it's not giving any result from here, so this salary is greater than not giving any value. So at least it should give one value that we have to compare with the salary. So it may be preceded by the comparison operators. That's here we have written this is greater operator, we can less than, less equal, so and so. So by using this one, by running these examples in the lab, you would be more familiar what the difference between any, some, and all. You have to do practice for it to get the better concept of this one. So this is accept operator, or you can also, this accept class operator is used to combine two select statement, returns rows from the first select statement that are not returned by the second statement. So what you are doing, accept. So what you have to say, the outermost select statement that returns row from the first select statement that are not returned by the second one. Second one means inner, and the first one means the outer. So what it say, the accept class is used to combine two select statements, and what is their purpose? Returns row from the first select statement that are not returned by the second. It means if the second statement gives some sort of the rows, and if those rows are not matching with the first statement, and the first statements will give to the result, those are not matching with the result of the subquery. So display list of cities where there is a branch office but no properties. In that manner, you are saying select city, it, but with the accept select statement. And here the select statement says select city from this one. Here the cities are selected, yeah, and these cities are selected, but these cities are given. Those are accept these cities. The cities we have retrieved with this outer select, those are not falling with the city, those we have got from the inner select statement. So this is the accept operator that you may use. But the main idea is how these queries should be coined, keeping in view the problem for which you are running these queries. For example, it is saying displaying list all cities where there is a branch office but no properties. So we have to select these cities, and from these cities we might get a number of cities from here, yeah. And for this select statement, surely from the branch we also get some sort of city name of the cities, and the name of city within the inner query, those are not those are for we get from the outer uh, select statement. So we have to discuss about a join, and within the join, we already studied in relation algebra that if we require information from more than one tables, so we have to join those tables. And most of the practice that you have done that on a single table, but sometimes the information you need, those basically reside within more than one tables. So we have learned about in relation algebra what are the join operations. Within that we have to inner join and outer join. Within the inner join we say the natural join and equi-join, we have considered that. And furthermore, if you recall that we say in order to go for that in the very beginning we have to use some sort of Cartesian product, and after that we're using some sort of your selection, projection, etc. So we have to say how these should be implemented using multi query tables. So to perform a join, we have to include more than one tables because we are combining, or you can say joining more than two tables. And furthermore, you have to use comma separated between names of the table when it is included in the SQL statement. For this, let's take this example. We have a student table and we have a fee slip table. We say the students are paying some sort of fee and they are getting some fee slip, and there is the amount that they have paid and on which date they have paid that fee. And here is the student ID and the name and fee slip number. And the student ID may be the primary key, and here the fee slip that may be also unique. These are the primary key within the fee slip, and that is being used in the table as a foreign key. So when we say that 234 is the slip number, yeah, and year 234 is also a fee slip number. So the student S101, his name is Bakar, he has paid this amount. So if we likely to get the data from both tables, I say I need student ID, name, fee slip, and amount. These four values we likely to get from these two tables. And the student ID, name, that is within this student table, whereas fee slip number, amount, those are within this table, within the fee slip table. However, the fee slip values are also available in the student table. So I have given S alias to the student and F alias to the fee slip. If it means that I can use S dot student ID for getting student ID from the student table. This S dot name, we are getting name from the student table. Then is F fee slip. The fee slip alias is basically F. So I can say F dot fee slip number. Amount is also getting from the fee slip, and fee slip is has alias F. Then I say F dot amount. So these aliases are used, and where we say the S dot fee slip number is F dot fee slip number. It means slip number from the student table must be equal to slip number of the fee slip uh, table. So when they are equating, we can get this. Let's suppose S101 Bakar have paid this 18,000 on such and such date because 234 and 234 are equal. So in this manner, we can get the data from both the tables. And this is the common table between the two. That is a matching table, matching column. Furthermore, if you are likely to get the data without any condition and from the both tables, you can say this select student ID, name from the first table and fee slip and amount from the second table, and you are using from student table and fee table. Just that say the names of table should be separated by commas. And if you say that the this alias is very fruitful to be used here because you can identify which column belongs to which table. And this is same that we have to see fee slip number is fee slip number, but we have to order by name. So those classes that you have already learned with the select statement from class, where class, order by, etc. You likely to use in the multi-table queries also. This result not only the student name, fee slip, and amount without any order. Let me say order by name. So it should be the resultant table should be ordered, or you can say it will be in ascending order. I say order by S dot name. So it should be sorted. Not only give the result without sorting. When we say order by, the resultant table also be sorted according to this column, that is S name. So you can use these classes that you have already learned the from, where, and order by class. You can use this one. So now we have to discuss the cross product. We have already know that when we are using two tables for the cross product, in the relational algebra, we studied that it take first instance of the first table and it have a cross product with all the rows of the other table. So when we do the cross product, we say the first record generated should be 234, there 12, 12, 20, 20, and 2300, and it will be related with S10, S20, S30, S40. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 for a single instance of student table. 10 rows should be from generated from this table. Then for the second row, the 10 rows again should be generated. We have already studied within the relational algebra. In order to implement that with the SQL statements, I write only the select star. It means I need all the columns from fee slip. Yeah, from fee slip. I this is the fee slip. We likely say this is the fee slip if I got this one, and cross join student. So we say I likely to cross join the students, yeah, and the resultant table will display cross product of two tables. So the two tables would have some sort of cross product. You say these are the two fee slip and these are the student. We likely to say it should be give, and we need all the columns: fee slip number, date, amount, student ID, and name. Okay. So in this manner you can get the result. You have, this is 1 2 3 4 rows, and here we have 3 1 2 3 4 rows is 1 2 3 4 rows, yeah. And if we say we have to get here 16 rows in the output, so and so. The resultant table will display cross product for two tables. Okay. So further we have the natural join. And if you recall that with the natural join, what we have to do, we say the natural join implicitly, we have to say the two columns, those are common between two, those should be equated with the equal sign. That is implicit with the natural join. So determine the common attributes by looking for attributes identical names. Within the two table, there should be one column that should be common with identical names. So select only rows with common values in the common attribute. So because the query should be run, and we say the column name, those are common with two tables, they should be equated with the equal sign, but that equal sign is not explicitly defined with the nature. That is implicitly is there. So if there are no common attributes, return the relational product of two tables. If we say that I likely to have natural join of two tables, but there's no common table, then what should be they will give the cross product of that. So for that we have to say select column list from table 1, natural join table 2. So this is select strong from table. This is student, natural join fee slip. So it is doing that in the very beginning, if you recall that it is doing a cross product, and after that it is comparing the values, and those are the common values between those, and those should be their output. So within this table, and within this table only the value that is 234, yeah, that is the common, and S75, uh, that is also as 75 512. The 512 and 234, these two slips have the equal value. This is the common within the two, the slip number, this one, and slip number. This is the common column between the two, and within these two columns, the only value those are equal. 234 is here and 234 is also in the second table, student, and 512 is here in the fee slip and 512 is here. So when you get that, only two values should be returned. So the output should be this one. Just you have to write select star from student natural join fee slip, because you are using two tables, student and fee slip. If you go through, I recall that what you have learned in the natural join, then you say that we have to do cross product, and after that we say the select statement, and with the select statement we say that the both are equal. Then again we like to say whether we need the columns from the both, and the column that is within the two tables, and we have to say whether we need one copy or two copy of that column. And you have already learned in natural design that it will keep one copy of the common attribute. So here this is the inner join. Yeah, this is basically equijoin. Yeah, and with the inner join you say select s dot star and f dot star. It means I'm using two tables, student with alias s and fee slip with f. So you can say s dot star all the columns of the student, when they say all the columns of the fee slip. Yeah, where student slip is equal to f slip. So here it will give these two are the fee slip and the student. Then you have to give us output. What should be the output? You have to think about. Yeah, and do you think it is different from your natural giant? And you have to run these queries, and then you have to compare how whether equigiant and natural giant are they different, are they giving the same result. And but you can use these statements in order to run those operations as we have learned in the relational algebra. We have already learned the outer join, and within the outer join we say there might be left outer join, right outer join, and full outer join. So you have saying the select this from this left outer join, fee slip f. You just write here left outer join. Within the previous example you have written here student natural join, left outer join fee slip f on slip equal to slip number. So you are saying the slip number in the table, that is S table. S means student table, and slip number in the table, that is basically fee slip number. Those should be equal. So you have to get the result, and you have to see and recall that with the left outer join you were talking about, that for the left outer join we are getting all the values from the table that is on the left, and the values from the right table in which they are match the conditions. And furthermore we are getting the values, and those have null values in the other table that's not having some sort of comparison, and they are not matching the values. So in that manner you have to run this one, and you have to fill this what should be the result of this one in the lab. So we have also the right join. Yeah, and within the right join you have to give this reserve word right outer join. And recall that with the right outer join you are talking about that all the rows from the right side table should be accommodated, and the rows from the left, those match the condition, those should be written, and those are not matching the condition, those should be fulfilled with the filled with the nulls values. And by using these two tables, fee slip and student, and you have to run this query. Yeah, and you have to say what should be the result. Just then the full outer join. in which we have said it's the result from the left join and from the right join. Those are basically as the output in our resultant output. So we have to write this one, select this star and F star, mean all the columns of F from student and fee slip, and then we have to say this is a full join. On this is the common between the two, and say the value of this one is equal to value of this one. Yeah, you can also give other operators if you like. Yeah. So what is the syntax of this one? Just you have to remember this syntax. You have to say which table should be joined, and after that you are not writing the condition with where clause. You are just writing though that condition, those matching criteria with the on. Just this is a basic difference, and that from you have to say for the left join you say the left outer join, for the right you have the right outer join, and for the full you are right to say full outer join. Okay. So this is more example that relating to the exist. Just I added example from the table that we are using, the student table and other. So you can run also these queries with to get idea of the exist and not exist. Yeah. So this is we say exist. This is student ID and S name from student S, where exist star from fee slip F, where slip number is equal to slip number. So you have to get this value, yeah, this value, and then this outer query should be run. So within the table that you have to create those tables, the student table and the slip table, and after that you have to run these queries and see the results. So it will help you to get your strong concepts about how these operators are being used in your subqueries and what you call that those are nested queries. Similarly, you can use not exist here. Yeah. So this select from student ID, this from students table, that is s dot student ID, and s dot name, that's from the student table where not exist. So you have to run this query, yeah, and within the query we have to this not exist, that this thing not exist within this output. So for those these values should be output. So if I wind up this lecture, I just uh, likely to say you that do practice for these queries, because writing subquery for the student is a bit difficult, because we have to understand the problem and we say which operators we likely to use with our subqueries and why that operator is being used. So you have good concept about these operators, what is in operator that you already use in simple queries, and all operator, any operator, some operator you have used, except operator you have used, and exist operator, that not exist operators. So you have to do practice for these, and within doing practice you would be more familiar how such query should be built, and hoping that you have some concept of these. Furthermore, you have to also remember that which operators are applicable. With, for example, you say I told you that relational operators are not applicable with the in operator, but with all, with any, that should be preceded by such operator, that is less than, greater than, greater equal, less equal, etc. And you can also use these operators with the sum operator. Further, I likely to say you that uh, you may find such examples from W3 schools, that is for the SQL tutorials. You can also use Geek for Geek. Those are also given some examples of these operators, how these are being used. Uh, Surely you are using SQLite, and within the SQLite you might see whether it complies with the full outer join or not, full join, because might be it is running on the right join and left join but not running the full join. But you have to see that whether that supports that full join or not. And further you have to see, because these operators are also used in SQL and Oracle and SQL Server, etc. So uh, I again advise you that you have to do practice for these queries, for sub queries, because in order to understand the problem and what sort of data you are looking for to be retrieved from more than one tables, and if we have some sort of condition in which we need that the subquery may give some sort of result, and that should be compared with the condition that in order to uh, for the true values of our outer query, then you have to keep in your mind that how these select statement that is nested, how these should be written within a subquery. So you have to do practice for it. Thank you so much.